Today in the crypto space, we see the market a little bit sideways. Bitcoin right around 113, 114,000, teetering around that level. Ethereum 4,200, still holding steady. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, pretty indecisive, guys. There's not many directional movements at the current moment. We have CRV, IMX, Flare looking pretty good, and a few others. However, guys, the reality is I think the market is indecisive. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one Solana project that not a lot of people are talking about, and that project is called Jito. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunity. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here, because we are seeing, some of the, trending charts, projects still looking okay. Aster pushing to higher levels today by a little, obviously not as it was before, by a little bit. Could this be a sign that maybe Aster's it's time to cool off? And guys, when a project pumps up that hard, we have to expect a cool off period. Stable did pretty good today, a total of 43%, which is pretty nice. Obviously, to see Stable waking up, it's obviously not that stable. It's trending to the upside, so that's good. And of course, there's obviously random pumps and random anomalies happening in this space every single day. But in general, the whole space is, just recovering a little bit, which is nice. We see that the total market cap is a smidget above $4 trillion, not by much, and not backed by a lot of volume. There's not backed by, an increase in volume whatsoever. For that fact, you can see today we've been pretty sideways with trading volume. It's a sign that the market is very indecisive, to the point that, pumps today could be just exit pumps. Low volume moves to the upside, are not really moves that I like, entertaining. They're not really convincing to me. Unless we get volume, which is a definition or is an indication of market participation, the chance is that you're taking a bit of risk on the fact that that pump is an inducement and eventually becomes a level where people start taking profit, an exit pump, which is not a good thing, and it leaves a lot of people, holding the bag, and a dead cat bounce does result usually as a break of the bottom and continuation. The problem is that are we going to get super bearish here right now? In the last 48 hours, I was entertaining, the fact, the bearishness is here. And I still feel like we're still very bearish, particularly on how Bitcoin is behaving. Not really giving us much of an edge at the current moment, just a bit of relief to the upside, which is awesome, guys. I'm going to celebrate this recovery. We'll celebrate all the recoveries, but at the end of the day, guys, there's no chance that I'm going to be left without a plan just in case Bitcoin continues to the downside. Because Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the rest of the space, regardless of this little relief that we've gotten today, which is obviously welcome, this downtrend is still intact on the lower time frames on the 1 hour fractal. So let's scrape to the top 100, and then we'll talk about Jito. I just want to get a sense of what this market is looking like today, just so that we can inform our, opinions on the chart, on the Jito chart as well. Because if the rest of the space is looking, sloppy, what do we expect from Jito? For it to, go against the trend? Most likely not, okay? There are some random pumps and anomalies that do happen in this space, but as you can see, Bitcoin still making lower lows and lower highs. Yes, we're on a local high right now, but if we get rejected, we get a confirmation of the trend still being down, lower lows and lower highs. Ethereum planking. It's literally planking right now. You could be an inverse Bart Simpson. Why not? It could happen. I want to be bullish on that. It could happen. Stop loss underneath the structure, and we bounce to the upside. I'll take that, and I'll be definitely celebrating that. XRP, nice relief to the upside, 3%. Not many projects are in fact moving that strong. So XRP right now is showing a bit of strength there. I wonder what the catalyst is, if there's even a catalyst. Dogecoin right around 2.3%. Nice to the upside, but again, did plank sideways and got a bit of relief. And as we keep on scrolling, you can see that the market is very indecisive. Zero, movement. As you can see, so many projects right now. Stablecoin, right? Just stable, right? Which is fine. At least we're stable. 1% for SUI. Wow, right? Amazing. XLM, almost 3%. Not bad. Okay. It is what it is, guys. As you can see, I'm scrolling quicker so we can just get through this. Not much happening. Not much. Okay, we got Meme Core doing okay, 7.7%, but structurally, it didn't even make a higher high on that. So who cares? Ultimately, we're not going to celebrate every pump if it doesn't really, make a huge difference. IP is the same way. It's still in a downtrend on the local time frame, up 7.2%. Okay, fine, we'll celebrate, but still, relatively speaking, we're still in a downtrend. Near Protocol, at least is holding sideways, not in a downtrend per se, right? And it is still 3.1% to the upside, looking for a breakout. That's a little different. Okay, we can be a little bit bullish here about that because of at least the stance that it's portraying. Would I get into fresh longs? Not without a tight stop loss and a clear invalidation, a defensive strategy. But if I were to take a position, it would be something that looked like this. Aster, there's no way I'm touching Aster right now. There's no way. Right? Aster did its job. It printed lots of millionaires. That's great. Congratulations. We got into some great trades over the weekend. Now we're midweek and we're still seeing a bit of this, and we see signs of divergence. We're seeing sign of frothiness. The price action is not getting that much volume. I see signs of hesitation. Not to say that Aster has to retrace back to where it came from. Not saying that, but give me a structure. Show me something. A full-on retracement is still very possible here. However, at least give me a structure at minimum, guys. Join me live tonight at 8 p.m. EST. We'll talk about all of this, the theory on how to handle projects like Aster that have been cranking. Because ultimately, myself, I want some big spot positions, but I have to be buying on a discount. Or at least give me a decent fair value. Right now, this is not fair value to my book. It's overbought in the short term. It's not overbought big picture. I think Aster is going to be a great performer. I think Aster is going to be a great asset, for this crypto space. But in the short term, I think we have a lot of euphoria, and I'm not getting into that euphoria. Even if it means if it continues, all good, I'll miss out. All good. There's no. I'm a trader, guys. I'm not here to buy emotions. I'm here to buy opportunity. And Aster at the current moment, based on its price, is not an opportunity for me. Okay, so that's that. Do your own thing, guys. Make sure that you do the research, do your thing, have your thesis, and if we're in confluence, great. If we're not, guys, defend your thesis 100%. Tau, downtrend. Aptos, downtrend. Downtrends are everywhere here, guys. A few anomalies like I mentioned, but the majority of the market, downtrend. 0% moves everywhere. Flare got a nice bounce. Believe it or not, I had it on my watch list, guys. It was too quick to move, but it's okay. It is what it is. Going sideways, broke out, beautiful, 15.8% to the upside. We can't complain about that, so we'll celebrate that pump for sure. But the rest of the crypto space, as you can see, downtrend, pretty much zero everywhere, guys. A few random moves, Immutable X, but still has a lot to prove, but still doing good based on the gaming narrative. Gaming could start waking up, guys, and IMX could be the one that leads the way. 10% moved for today. That's bullish. I'll take that. But generally speaking, guys, nothing really happening. We need to see a proper market structure shift in order for me to get bullish. And a 10% pump on the 1 hour, for me, it just represents volatility. It doesn't represent market structure whatsoever. Okay, guys, so we did pretty good here. Let's take a look at Jito. What is up with Jito? At the end of the day, Jito is at about 1.66, $1.66. Tokenomics wise, you can see the circulating supply is 300 million units, but total supply a billion units, which means that there's still risk of dilution. Now, because of that, it's our responsibility, of course, to get well informed as to what the strategy is on how to get those tokens in distribution. Now, of course, in a bull run, a lot of the times those tokens get absorbed, regardless of unlocks or rewards or whatever it is, airdrop. It doesn't matter. I don't know or remember their strategy. Guys, if you want me to do a deep dive on Jito, join the Discord and make that request, and we vote on the deep dive. So feel free to do that. The links are in the description, and the Discord is absolutely free, by the way. But that's that. With Jito, what we need to figure out ultimately is Is the vesting schedule, is the schedule of which those tokens are going to get released going to be safe? Are they going to be slow and steady? And ultimately, how are they going to be done in such a way that they won't dilute the value? Diluting the value right now would be detrimental. But the truth is, guys, if we're in a proper bull run, altcoin season, and all of that, small unlocks are not going to affect price. Demand should outperform supply. And with that, being said, we should see a continuation to the upside. However, let's be specific about Jito. Let's take a look at what Jito's been up to. Let's take a look at their socials real quick. Jito, MEV powered staking rewards. Jito_Sol is the tag. So right there, we know that it's a Solana based system, right? And ultimately, we know that Solana has been a very, very, bullish, very buzzed project, or L1 in the last little bit. Price-wise, it's been doing good, and their proxy plays or their beta plays have been also doing well. So Jito could catch a few bids in the up and coming days. It's possible based on the Solana movement, right? So earn MEV rewards through Jito's Solana's liquid staking pool. So it's a liquid staking pool. You have capital, you stake it up, and you receive a liquid token. So giving yourself access to liquidity even though your capital is staked up. They have 100,000 followers. Okay, not bad. Quite small, but it's okay. It's all good because it's a small project anyway. Right. Jito Sol is more than just Solana. It's your way to stay ahead of the curve. Earn rewards while simply holding, scope out the countless DeFi opportunities, contribute to the decentralization of Solana, retain access to the deepest and most liquid LST, liquid staking token on the network. Jito Sol is a better Sol. I don't know how that would make sense, just because, okay, it does offer these features, and that's their point, but it's their pin comment, September 22nd, which means this is what they're pushing at the moment. Let's see what else they're pushing, if there's anything relevant here. A bit of a talk here. You can see restaking an economic layer for the network that can be IBRL. Social engagement is always great, so good to see a little bit of that. Get started with restaking on Solana. This is not new, obviously. Why Solana for restaking? Go check that out. Some more education. Education is great because then obviously you know what's going on and you can get fundamentally bullish from at the primitive level. Cambrian explosion of crypto ETFs since the SEC's recent generic listing standards approval. This individual, Thomas, explains how he now expects a Cambrian explosion of crypto ETFs, unlocking a new suite of trading strategies in the process. More from his Solana Oriental talk. So I don't know how this is specific for Solana. I know there's a Solana ETF in parts of the world, and in America there could be one around the corner and such. That's just a very, very generic conversation, maybe not directly, reflective of Jito per se, but it's great nonetheless. As we keep on going down, a few other things. Again, Jito, Solana Oriental, a meetup there, a speak. The future is bright with BAM. I'm not sure what this is about, but block assembly marketplace. It would be nice for a little bit of context about that for the social engagement. But other than that, guys, I would have liked a little bit more here. What else do we got here? Proud to be one of the sponsors for Fallout. Begins today, September 23rd, hackathon. Okay, so they're really active here on the socials, right? Today, got a lot happening here. Jito is here for Solana. Got a couple token stake, coin staked, 401 million Solana stake with Jito. Solana validators, 97.7 network stake weight. Okay, so that's quite a bit. And you can see lots of good stats here to get you bullish and so on. And guys, go check out their socials. They got a lot happening here. I'm glad to see them that they're active and so on. More from the Jito GIP and so on. And pretty good stuff. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts. So let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with the Jito chart. Because ultimately, yeah, fundamentals are decent, fundamentals are good, the whole infrastructure is great, and we can talk about tokenomics and all of this stuff, but ultimately, what's the price up to, guys? Can we catch an edge as a trader? Do we have an edge here in this chart given that the price is at the bottom of the range? Let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. Now, it is true that it is at the bottom of the range. As you can see, it's quite clear. Like, there's no guesswork here. And, we defined this level as a point of interest way, way, way back, right around March or so, right around here, April. Okay, that's fine. Now, we'll just scooch it over so we can get it out of the way. And we can say this is still a point of interest. It's been respected, or even respected and disrespected, because you can see the price has been scrubbing right through it quite a bit the last little while. So, I'm going to move the goalpost. No, you know what? I'm going to add a goalpost because there is some relevance right here. There is. And you can see that based on the volume profile, I would suggest its relevance, right? The relevance is that ultimately we can catch its bottom and, come down here again and sweep the low. And, one may argue, bears may argue, well, look, we came down for the impulsive move down. Let me just draw that a little bit better. Impulsive move down. And then, we got this, which kind of looks a bit like a distribution. Very valid. However, we can't get bearish on this until we break structures, until we actually, change character on this thing and produce a lower low. Because as of now, we've been respecting this bottom. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see what I mean. We've been respecting this bottom, and as long as we respect it, it's horizontal support. However, if it breaks below, we confirm a lower low. And not only do we confirm a lower low, but we break the trend, we break to the downside. But in addition, we have an incentive to come right back to about $1.43 to test these absolute bottoms again. And does this mean that maybe we go for an attempt for a breakdown for another impulsive move, getting into dip discovery below the 1.4? So there's a bit to talk about here, because ultimately the risk to reward ratio is great because you're at the bottom of the range, but the way this structure, this distribution looks like, it doesn't make me very hopeful that it's going to hold up. However, it's also very vital to understand that, risk to reward has to be respected, in the sense that because your risk to reward ratio is good, your opportunity to gain a reward versus the amount of risk you take needs to be considered and factored in to your decision as to if you are going to be buying into this level. And most traders, all they care about is risk to reward. To be honest, it's a big part of my strategy, because I wouldn't touch a setup that doesn't have a great risk to reward ratio. However, sometimes I don't even look at fundamentals, and I'll get into a trade just based on risk to reward, because it's a shot, right? It's an opportunity to potentially capitalize on upside potential while still mitigating all kinds of losses below based on the risk to reward. So as you can see, invalidations are very close. If we drop below $1.43, guys, get out. It's a BOS, a break of structure to the downside, which is essentially a continuation to the downside. Not something that I want to endure, especially after, timing a nice bottom down here. We can see there's a bit of a trend line. There's a bit of liquidity trapped up on this trend line. We have liquidity everywhere, right? There's some right here, right? Stop losses for shorts, some right here, stop losses for shorts, and some up here, losses, obviously as the price would reverse, people would get liquidated at all these levels because people plan on holding these levels accountable, as invalidations, and ultimately, the market makers realize, yeah, this is the bottom of the range. Let's go hunt, and let's keep on going up. This is how usually, and even short squeezes, if we can actually get this thing on perps, short squeezes happen and they, push the price even higher, and so on and so forth. So right now, what I'm just going to stick upon is and hinge upon the fact that we are still within the range. It is still within a range. No expansion, no real volume since this level. Nothing is really happening. This thing is quiet. Calm before the storm, maybe. But the only thing right now that I can kind of show you with a high degree of certainty is that we are at the bottom of the range with a great risk to reward ratio, and that we had decent volume into this level. Market participation has been selling off little by little, and as we entered this zone right here, we can see that market participation cools off significantly, but we also increase a little bit right here. So what are these goons doing here? What I want to quickly do is shift all of it to the side, away off the screen, so I can highlight the volume that is currently being produced right into here. Guys, look at this volume, right? We're getting a lot of market participation. Look at the increase in volume. A lot of market participation. What you have to decide is this sell pressure, or is this accumulation buy pressure that will eventually lead to a continuation or a break to the upside? Guys, at least right now, you're buying the bottom of the range. So if you do go long, your losses are tiny. Like, look at this little space. Let's do a setup right here. Small, tiny loss. Put your stop loss, whatever, right into here. And then look at the potential reward, which is, again, range highs. And the risk to reward ratio, guys, I don't even want to say it out loud, but it is like 11 to 1, 10 to 1. And your percentages just on spot is crazy good. You see the number. I don't even want to say it out loud. But ultimately, that's the way you trade a range, is that if you're at the bottom of the range, where's the better place to take it? Other than in here, that we actually swept these bottoms already, these ones right here. And you can see, let me just quickly go back and just get rid of some of this artwork so you can see that we already swept this bottom level. We came below many times and we're hesitating there and disrespecting this horizontal, like almost like it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, right? And the market is giving us that. So guys, if we can break back above and we can hold this level, break and start breaking above this level, we start making higher highs, which is great. And then maybe we get, some evidence of a reversal. We need first a higher high, maybe a back test of a higher low, and then a continuation. Most people will wait for this if they want that absolute opportunity. Some people are, degens. They want to get right into here with the stop loss. I would say, why not? Because the risk to reward ratio is so good. Small position, small stop loss that, you take a little bit of a hit. But what about if you caught a bit of a bottom here? At least you're taking calculated strategic risk, not FOMOing in on the top. Right here, it's a little bit late. Not late, but you're looking for backtest confirmation, looking for a confirmation that we are in an uptrend. And once that happens, you can see that we're going to start making higher highs and higher lows. And then the trend is your friend. It's very likely that we start impulsing to the upside and getting back to range highs. So that's what I would be looking at right now, is that ultimately your risk to reward ratio is on point. And if you like Solana and you think Solana is going to do well, and if you think the beta plays on Solana are going to pick up pace, guys, Jito might be one to be on your watch list, given that its market cap is small. Okay, it's smaller. We're getting into the lower mid caps at the current moment here, with the Jito size of market cap. Let's take a look at oscillators real quick. As you can see, it's been stuck in the chop zone for a good while. Stuck here, momentum stuck. Volatility is bouncing around like crazy, which obviously is cool. If you're trading this range, you're timing the volatility and trying to get it in and out of the market based on volatility. But because the momentum is not trending, it's a stable coin. It's a stable coin with the possibility of a pump and a dump, right? But we covered the dump part with that stop loss. But given market conditions and, the fact that we could be in a bull run in altcoin season and all this kind of stuff, and Solana and, Ethereum pumping and, you get it. Ultimately, it is a stable coin with the possibility of a pump. So what I would do is treat it as that. Use capital that you're okay parking into this for a good while until it starts to break out. Use the right position size that it's not going to hurt too much if we break down, so you can stop yourself out, because this is like a very passive scenario. This is not an aggressive scenario to get in. Time is going to be on your side, because the longer we go here, the more the pressure builds and bigger the expansion will become. Okay, so keep that in mind. Once we look at momentum, nothing's really happening. Even my expansions in the background are not really giving us too much of an edge. What is giving us a bit of an edge, maybe, let's kind of look at the trend oscillator. By the way, if you want to know more about this oscillator, it's called Synergy Signal. It's a suite of two different oscillators. We got momentum and trend oscillators. Links are in the description below if you're interested in it. But you can see that even the trend oscillator, based on the expansions and even the histogram bars and the EMAs, they're going sideways, guys. We got a bit of divergence. It's not a strong one, but it's there. Like, am I going to get into a fresh long right now, like aggressively? No, but I wouldn't mind buying a spot bag here. And if we do get a sweep of these bottoms, wait for the sweep. And if it's going to be a swing failure, accumulation, manipulation, and then get back above. If we can back test, great. Back above, close the daily candle, get in. Back test, get in. Break up the previous high, get in. Accumulate in this area as we show strength, as we reclaim the trend again, or the structure above. And this was an inducement, this was a sweep, this was a swing failure, this was a liquidity hunt, whatever you want to call it. But ultimately, this would be bullish to get back above, because it's likely to continue to the upside and eventually break this top, and then we start moving to the upside. So this is up to you how you want to handle it. By range, I would do this, buy a little bit here And if you have the stones to buy a little bit here, sure, go for it. And, you know, I understand that you're adding into a negative scenario. I get it. But guaranteed, I would be buying back into here. If it broke back above, get back into here and a little bit more on the confirmation high, the higher high, once we break the previous high. And your general entry will be right into this level. Now, again, zoom out. Remember what I just did with you guys and showed you the setup. Zoom out. Where are we going? Well, if we start breaking out and breaking higher highs, guys, we're going back to range highs. Very clear. Okay, so that's that. It's all about risk management at this case because you're at the bottom of the range at the perfect time to take a position. The question is how big, how aggressive, and so on and so forth. And just keep in mind also, Jito's not the largest cap, which means the volatility could still be there for such a project. Okay, so doing pretty good. There's no use of getting into lower time frames here. The daily is giving you enough data to make a decision here. Getting into lower time frames might just, muddle things and make things a lot more difficult to understand. All right, guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.